Right, now that's pulled back, I need to unhook and get on the front, but first I need to move the Rio out the shed. Next, we had the arrival of the Diamond T that we've started restoring. We need to finish it, we need to get it all basically back together. You probably haven't seen this before, but you will be seeing a little bit more of it soon. So we've brought it back here to get the last bit of welding, cab on, bonnet all on, radiator. It does in fact run and drive. So yeah, we've got another thing that we've got to finish on top of everything else. Easy.
Easy as that. There we go. How's that?
Easy, but I think we're getting good at this. We're moving them about when they're dead.
Look at that, almost dead straight on there.
Yeah. Right, so another quick little update on Seb's Berlin Brigade Chieftain. We've now got the first coat of battleship grey on the tank. So the next thing we want to do, obviously, side plates are down with sandblasted. Hopefully they're getting done today. So we need to primer them, we'll put them on. We've then got to put the smokes and all bits and pieces and fixtures back on the tank, and then we can start the really long and boring process of masking all the little squares in it. To be honest, it looks like a nightmare. We've got to study loads of photos and that does not look fun. But we've also, before we do that, we realised that before we put the searchlight box on, that's going to actually hamper putting the engine in. Because I quite like to put the engine in the shed, because all it's done this week is rain. So I'd rather put the engine in the dry in here. So we're just going to try and get the engine bay. We're not going completely showroom condition, but we want it fairly tidy. So we're starting to paint it so you can remember how messy it was in here. We're just going to make it look as nice as we can. We've got the awkward job now of just masking up the GUE. We're going to put some new duct cake on that. We're not going to take the GUE out. Actually ran quite well. We've got a couple of brand new ones, but if it works, there's no point changing it. So there's not really any leaks on it. It runs nice with charges, so it seemed pointless to pull it to pieces. So we've left that be. We'll paint that up. Also, I have got some bits from the engineers. So I've got my brackets for here. So let's just go and have a look at them. We also had some break this skin. This way. That's the break. Now they are a bit thin, but we haven't got any other option really at the moment. try and get some made, but they were all warped. These were the actual set off of Seb's. They were warped to death, so people have been steering, and rather than snatching, they've just been holding the tiller and cooking the brakes, which is not a good thing. But most importantly, I've got my brackets. Well, I'll say they're brackets. They're my guides for the gearbox mount. So let's offer them back in Seb's and just see if they're any good. When you've got them on the right end, obviously they're slightly different. I've actually put right and left, I've got them mixed up. I had a bit of a panic there because I thought they were widely out, but they're absolutely bang on. So thank you, Harper Engineering, for that. It's a fantastic job. They also had no idea what the hell I was going on about. I was explaining it with a piece of cardboard in my hand, and they thought I'd completely lost the plot. Which they have good reason to believe that. But they do line up absolutely bang on. So what I'm going to do now is bolt. I'm going to bolt these down with the original bolts with some washers. I'm then going to weld some cross braces, so we've got the side to side, so that can't be wrong. I'm also then going to weld some bits that go down to the hull that don't weld to the hull but touch on the hull, so I know that if I bolt it in the other tank, if it's warped or if it's lifted up in any way, or if it's pushed too far down, so it'll be like a bit of a guide. And fingers crossed, we'll be able to just bolt the cut-off bits on Concrete Chieftain to this end, and obviously bolt this to the hull that's okay, and then it should give me the right area to then start welding or tacking on, then I can take them off and weld it on. Should be bang in line. I think a lot of people didn't really understand what I was doing with these. These are literally just for guides. Once I've welded them on, they're going back in the scrap bin. So, I think the next thing I need to do is get some bolts, bang them in, get my little stick welding and weld some braces in, and then try it in concrete. Easy as that. Right, another thing we noticed with Seb's, obviously we've started needle gunning the idlers, and actually the road wheels aren't too bad, and to be honest, they're probably going to get a damn good thrashing anyway. But we did notice that at some point all the wheel nuts on this side have obviously come loose, and it's actually snapped two of the studs off. I hadn't actually noticed that originally with the side plates on. So obviously now we know about it, we can see that there's a gap behind the nuts. We're going to need to do something about it. So we need to get the old frog. Basically it works over centre. So you'll put that on the other side in there, and then that will go on the hub, on the stub axle, and as the tank gets pulled back, that will go up like that, which will lift the wheel up, and then we can undo the bolts that look loose and see what's going on. I have got some new studs. I've never changed a stud of a Chieftain. It'll either be dead easy or it'll be get the gas out and blow it out with the gas, so we'll find out. But that's another job that we need to do before we put the side armour on. All the other road wheels we've checked out, and actually the nuts and everything look fine, so just another little problem that we've got to deal with. Also, for Seb's, we had in stock a method iron control box. We have absolutely no idea if it works. It looks quite crusty in places, but Seb's just thought, let's get a screwdriver. Looks like someone has been in here, which is never a good thing. Let's see what is actually what it's like inside. Ooh. Well, that's it with the cover off.
I'm not as hopeful.
It all looks like it'll work. It wants some salt water chucking over it. To be fair, looking in there though, in fairness, it don't look that bad. 60s electrics, what could possibly go wrong? Nothing. I'm sure that'll be fine. And what do we think? We've got that bit missing from there.
The traverse box.
Traverse. Wonder what bastard stolen that. Does the switchy thing work? The click.
Bit stiff.
Oh yes, Metadine. Yes, perfect.
It's engaged now. That's it.
That's gonna work. So we just need to get the 2 joysticks.
Yep.
That thing, take that all out, clean everything in there, check all the wires, make sure nothing's corroded or burnt. I know this looks a bit corroded, but that will clean up, I think.
As long as everything behind it will.
Yeah, I reckon, to be fair, fair bit of corrosion in the backs of that, but that should all come out all right. That corrosion there. Don't think there's any actual pins damaged, is there?
Doesn't look like it.
No. Yeah, there's a fair chance that'll be okay, I'd say. Right, so this is the Diamond T that you probably haven't seen yet. We started restoring this last year, but like everything, stuff keeps getting in the way, and really belongs to a good friend of ours, and I want to make a good push on this and finish it for him. Ready for show season. There's a tanks transporter, and it does look pretty good. It's going to look fantastic when it's got the cab back on. Still a couple of bits that need doing. Obviously, when it was in civilian use, someone had the exhaust pipe coming out the front here. Christ only knows why. And there's a few other bits we need to do. A couple of things I've noticed, like some of the spring hangers, the bolts have bust over time. I think there's the same both sides actually. I hadn't actually noticed that, so they need sorting out. But she runs pretty well. 1790 clicks on the engine, so it probably hasn't done an awful lot. I don't know if the fan should be green. I might be painting that red instead. I think it'd look better red. But no, so that's another little project we've got to do. A few gauges in the dashboard have been smashed out, which is a shame. See if we can get replacements, the fuel gauge, and I can't really tell what that is, probably oil pressure. I'm not so keen on the 4000 Lucas tractor key. I don't think they'd have had that in the 40s, so might change that out as well. But otherwise, this should go together reasonably well, and it'll look quite nice. The back body, it had been turned into a recovery while it was in civilian hands. I'll try and find a photo and attach it on the screen. So basically we've had to cut the homemade recovery boom out the back, and we've taken it back to standard as a bit of a ballast tractor, that sort of thing. So that's a Diamond T. So keep following for more updates on this as and when we do it, which will be a bit more often, because I could do with getting that done. I have to keep tarping it up every time we're spraying Seb's tank.
Right, blah blah, come on, we'll see you in the next episode. Let's get on with some work, shall we? Is that a better idea? Let's do it.